It's great watching the videos and the slides ahead of time. It makes me realize how badly I miss everyone. It's so sad for us not to be together, but also realize what great speakers we've had this year and some of the great programs that we've done. So welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order the June 9th meeting of the Rotary Club of Greenville. We're glad everybody can join us, and hopefully it's just now 12 o'clock, so I may have a few more people joining in. But this time I'd like to call on Surrender Jane for our invocation and pledge.
Let's pray with our eyes closed. Dear God, we humbly ask and pray to you to save this world from the epidemic of coronavirus. We pray that you give hope, comfort, and cure to those who are suffering with this disease. We pray that you bless those first responders who are dedicating their lives to take care of others. We pray that you give us all the wisdom to know that you are the creator of all of us, and all of us equally, regardless of our color, race, religion, language, profile, or else. That you want us all to communicate with each other and work our differences with respect and peace. That you love and bless those who love those you have created. We ask that you give wisdom to our leaders to treat all human beings equally with respect and equal justice. That you give our leaders the strength to resolve our differences among the people with peace and non-violence. Amen. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Surrender. Greatly appreciate that. We've got a number of announcements today. First of all, we have been in touch, Jane has been in touch with Top Golf, and so we feel like that they're going to be ready and open for us to have our fundraiser on August the 20th. We are looking at maybe having less space, which is actually going to be good, but they're going to put social distancing in, and it'll be a really great time. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. Also, it's not too late if you weren't interested in being a sponsor. We could always use more sponsors for that. And now that we have I told you last time, we actually have a site to camp on. So we're looking at the dates for Camp the Falls. And so the festival we're planning on next April the 18th. That'll be on Sunday. And then the camp out will be the following Saturday on April the 25th. So that's exciting. We're anxious to get that great event back on track, and look forward to raising some money and having some fun and educating our community and celebrating our great city. So I want to also remind everybody that we're offering an incentive to join Rotary. If you bring in a member between now and the end of the month, we'll waive the initiation fee plus make you a Paul Harris fellow. And if you're already a Paul Harris fellow, we'll use the points to bump you up to the next level. So some of you may be thinking that the economy is struggling. It's not a good time to ask people to consider joining, but remember that Rotary is formed as a networking vehicle, and there's not a better club in the world for networking as well as community service. So it's a great time to consider that. We will be hosting virtual Discover Rotary presentations coming up on next Tuesday, June the 16th at 5:30. And then the following Tuesday, these are our standard times on June the 16th at 5:30. June the 26th, right before our meeting at 11. So they could join in our, call in at 11. We could do a virtual presentation and then they could hear a great speaker we've got lined up for next month. So please call or email a friend or acquaintance or business consultant and invite them to join us. You can sign up on DACDB or let Michelle or me know. We'll be happy to sign them up for you. I'm really thankful that we have been able to meet virtually through Zoom. I want you to know that now that the Weston Poinsett is open for, they're now open for business, and the board will be meeting next week to decide when it'll be appropriate for us to meet again in person and what guidelines will be followed once we do start meeting. I know that the meetings will be different. They're not going to be kind of what we are used to. I know, for example, there will not be a buffet. It'll be a plated meal, and it will be requiring social distances. But I expect that we'll be able to still offer our Zoom meetings to members who may not be comfortable meeting in person. Look for more information on that coming up in our newsletter. Since our last meeting, which I regretfully did not mention that invoices were going out, and the timing of the invoices is really unfortunate, but we have to pay our dues to Rotary International in early July. And so while I know that many of our members are struggling financially, so our board is offering membership grants to help really defray that cost of being a member. And we're using the surplus money we have left there for this year to offer those. So if you are struggling financially, please apply for that grant. Your membership is very important to us. You can get a form from Michelle or me. I'm happy to forward that to you, and we're going to see what we can do for all of our members. I also just want to let you know if you're uncomfortable, once we do resume our meetings, and if you're uncomfortable being in a social situation within a public group, because maybe you have risk factors or you live with someone that has a high risk factor, please reach out to Michelle, Jane, or me, and we're going to explore ways to defray those costs for those meals for you. And just please know that we value and love each one of you. We want to do everything we can to make sure that you continue to be a part of our club and a part of Rotary and a great asset to our community. So as far as announcement, we have one more meeting left in this Rotary year. And so, but our next meeting is going to be a little bit of a transition meeting, and we've got the great speaker that Jane and the committee's lined up. So I know it's going to be a really, there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. I think we're going to set attendance record. I want to set the world record for a number of people attending Zooms. Invite all your friends for this, because we're going to have the state epidemiologist come and talking to us and tell us what in the world is going on with this virus and what can we do to make everyone stay safe and healthy and get the economy back on track. So since that is going to be such a in-depth meeting, I want to go ahead and take care of one of our things that we're supposed to do, and that is name our Rotarian of the Year. So this year, there's been a few challenges being the Rotary president, but I'm not sure there's any of the challenges have been more difficult than choosing the Rotarian of the Year. We have such a committed, hardworking group of Rotarians. It's really hard to make a decision. And I think back to Camp the Falls and all the effort that went into that great fundraiser and how successful it was. I mean, I was reminded that Dolly and Ryan and Laura were named co-Rotarians of the Year 2 years ago. So, we've had great turnouts for the park cleanup. We've had a member host an exchange student, which was amazing. For an extended period of time. We've had members be involved with Top Golf and other fundraisers. We've gone over and above to help the teachers and students at Alexandria Elementary School. So we've really had a lot of people step up and do a lot of wonderful things. But I had to choose. So this year's Rotarian of the Year is a relatively new member, having only joined in June of 2018. But upon joining the club, she immediately joined the Peace and Resolution Conference Planning Committee and did an outstanding job with the publicity. This year, she chaired our Public Relations and PR Committee and has kept the Rotary name out there through social media, print media, and through relationships she's developed with local television stations. Whether it's Camp the Falls, Alexandria Elementary School fundraiser, she's always willing to offer a hand. She brings a level of creativity and professionalism to everything that she's done. She's willing to offer new ways of handling things, yet able to take constructive criticism if her ideas are not accepted, which is sometimes a really hard thing to do. As a leader, she is willing to spearhead new initiatives. Feeling moved by the Peace and Resolution Conference, she wanted to continue the conversation about how we as a society can learn to live in peace and harmony and express ourselves in constructive, meaningful ways. So she started the lunchtime conversations based on the living room conversations model, and where we discuss a relevant topic once a month. It has taught me to be a better listener and given me the opportunity to build closer relationships with other members of the club. I take great pleasure in introducing Teresa Miller as our 2019-2020 Rotarian of the Year. Teresa, if you will open the bottom drawer on the left side of your desk and look under the papers, you should find your award. Special thanks to Michelle for having the award delivered to your office. Congratulations. Thanks for your dedication and service to our club.
Scott, I just sent you a text from Teresa that said she's working from home today.
Oh no, of course Teresa is working from home today. Isn't that the way things work with this coronavirus? So
Great choice. Great choice.
No, thank you.
Yay, yay, yay.
She's an outstanding person, but we have many outstanding Rotarians, and thank you all for what you do. So that is it. I think now we're going to go to Caroline Stewart for update on the district governor installation.
Caroline, we can't hear you. Beth, do you have something to say about the installation?
Yes, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure exactly what Caroline was going to say. Caroline, you are unmuted, but you're not. Okay. Thursday, June 18th, next week from 5 to 6 p.m., we are having a virtual installation and awards banquet. First time we're doing it virtually. And I would much rather Caroline be saying this, but I would be very honored and would appreciate it very much if I had tremendous support from my home club at the virtual awards and installation banquet. It's free. You can do it in your own home. The theme was Best Backyard Bash, which now it's going to be a virtual backyard bash. We are asking you to register. Go to DACDB. Michelle's going to send out, I believe, a email just to our club with the relevant information in that too. And it's going to be 1 hour of your life, and it's going to be one where the achievements of this year's clubs will be recognized. I know a lot of clubs, including our own, have had challenges this year because of COVID, but I think that the way clubs have overcome this, especially ours with Zoom meetings, has been remarkable and admirable. And so clubs will be recognized for their achievements. And then we will be installing not just the governor line and the assistant governors, of which Jimmy Kimball, Area 3, will be our new assistant governor. And so we want to recognize Jimmy next week. And we'll also be recognizing all the new club presidents, including our own Jane Dyer, who will, I think, either virtually or in person with mask on or something, receive the Governor's Home Club banner from the Rotary Club of Greenville City Center. So I would really appreciate your support next week by showing up, not showing out necessarily, although virtually you can show out and it won't embarrass me so much. But I would appreciate your showing up next Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Zoom virtual installation and awards banquet. So I think that's about what Caroline was going to say, if she can shake her head yes or no. And that's what she was going to say. Okay, so I've done okay, and Caroline's not going to yell at me after the meeting. So thank you very much. I would appreciate your support next week by showing up at the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Start off with a little bit of sad member news. We extend sympathy to Joan Burkett on the death of her mother. We're very sorry about that. And also extend sympathy to Scott Stevens on the unexpected death of his father. Scott, we're all very, very sad about that. Scott Powell shared with me some news that in Rotary, we have several governing councils that help Rotary govern and decide on what legislation and change in governance procedures and things that we need to make for Rotary. And every district has a representative, and it's a 3-year term to serve on these very important councils. And our own Terry Weaver has been nominated for a 3-year term on the Council on Resolutions and the Council on Legislation, which deal with legislation and resolutions at the Rotary Club level, at the national governance level. So that's a very important committee, a very important group, and we appreciate Terry's doing that. Our club member, William Johnson, recently had his 10-year Rotary Club anniversary, but has had to request a 1-year leave of absence. He's a chief financial officer by training and has accepted a 1-year temporary position with a corporation that will take him to another part of Greenville County that will prevent him from being at our lunch meetings. So he's been granted a 1-year leave of absence from our club, and we will miss Bill for the next year. We're glad that he's just taking leave of absence. Matt Cotner recently celebrated his 20th wedding anniversary. And so congratulations to Matt on that. Our member Rob Rowan is involved with all kinds of things, from Upstate International to the World Affairs Council to us and to a lot of things. He's also president of the Global Action Coalition, which is a nonprofit that does international work, international relief work. It's a nonprofit that doesn't have any employees. It's all volunteer driven. So 100% of donations go to their the needs that they meet across the world. And Rob recently, with the support of friends, raised $1,500 to go to Nepal to feed 600 people who were out of work and needed some help. So thank you, Rob, for doing that good work. Scott, his son, our own Scott Powell's son, Carter Powell, played basketball at Kenyon College and had a very distinguished record. Although he was a biology major, it's hard to major in a science and play basketball. And he's planning on going to med school. He played in 97 career games at Kenyon, had 80 starts, was second in scoring, had a team high 17 blocks, ranks 7th in program history with 71 blocks, but he was recognized by being one of 21 male athletes in the NCAA that got winner postgraduate scholarship awards, and he'll be able to use this postgraduate scholarship in his later studies. He's actually going to take a gap year, planning on going to Peru for humanitarian work. And after that, he's going to go on to medical school. So that's good news for Carter. It's even better news for Scott, because it means that in this economy, he's not going to be moving back home. So Scott is very happy about that. Our own Connie Lanzel, who for 10 years, who's done fabulous work with Junior Achievement. Junior Achievement does great things for our high school students, teaching them about the American economic system. During this time, she figured out a way to deliver their K through 12 programs virtually over the internet, and did such a good job with some videos that they made locally that Junior Achievement nationally has asked to be able to use them all over the United States. This has been Connie's retirement year. She told her board last August she was going to retire, and she will be retiring at the end of the fiscal year on June 30th. Connie said, "My 10 years working with JA have been extraordinary, and I will be forever grateful to Miles Golden for connecting me to this opportunity." Many of us remember Miles as a great Rotary member, and just shows all the benefits of being in Rotary. And I never say anything about Connie without also saying, because I just have never known anybody that is a member of the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. And I looked it up. Connie told me that one time, and I thought, wait a minute. And I looked it up. You can look it up too. It's online. So congratulations to Connie on the retirement. There's something I'm going to be able to say about Michelle Patterson, and I'm able to say it because Scott just insisted. And after Michelle said, you can't announce this many times, Scott said, you must announce it one more time. Then Michelle said no. Michelle has made 600 adult and children's face masks. She's given away 525 of them to Alexander teachers and 400 to Shriners Children's Hospital, a dozen to the Taylor's Lions Club, and so on and so forth. Her sister is also making some, and Michelle's goal is 1,000. So thank you very much for that. And I wish I'd told Michelle I was going to do this so she could model one of the masks, but maybe later. Oh, good. There she is. Everybody can. Oh, it's even a Rotary mask. Okay, good. Thank you very much. And I want to conclude by saying, if you will indulge me for just a moment, instead of telling a joke, I've been thinking about our country's very severe medical, racial, social, and economic problems, what we can do. Sometimes it just seems overwhelming. And I got something on, somebody emailed me, and I've checked the numbers I'm getting ready to share with you. And these are correct numbers. A lot of times you get things that are not correct, but these numbers are correct. I want to just share something with you. This will just take a minute. It's a mess out there now. For a small amount of perspective at this moment, though, imagine you were born in 1900. On your 14th birthday, World War I starts and ends on your 18th birthday. 22 million people perish in that war. Later in that year, the Spanish flu epidemic hits the planet and runs until your 20th birthday. 50 million people die in the world in those 2 years. On your 29th birthday, the Great Depression begins. Unemployment hits 25%. The world gross domestic product drops 27%. That runs until you are 33 years old. When you turn 39, World War II starts. On your 41st birthday, the United States is pulled into World War II. And between your 39th and 45th birthday, 75 million people in the world perish in the war. Smallpox was epidemic until you were, from your birth, until you were in your 40s. And it killed during that time period 300 million people in the world from 1900 until the 1940s. At your age 50, the Korean War starts and 5 million people perish. From your birth till you are 55, you dealt with the fear of polio epidemics each summer. At your age 55, the Vietnam War begins and doesn't end for 20 years. 4 million people perish. And during the Cold War, you live each day with the fear of nuclear annihilation. On your 62nd birthday, you have the Cuban Missile Crisis. When you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone on the planet born in 1900. How did they endure all of that? Yet they survived through everything listed above. They solved their problems, but it was not easy, and they survived and thrived. They left the place, the world, better than they found it. It will not be easy for us, but we can do the same. And that just meant a lot to me because I believe we have all these problems, but you know, we're not asked to solve every single problem or any problem today or tonight. We're just asked to take one step towards solving that problem. That's all we can do. And if every day each of us will take a step towards solving one of those problems, we can get it done. And President Scott, I'd like you to let me just close my remarks with that.
Pardon me interrupting. Can you send us a copy of that?
Yes, I can. I'll send it to Michelle and she can, would that be all right, Michelle, if I send it to you and you can post it to, okay.
Super, thank you.
Okay, I think now we are fortunate to have with us our, thank you, Bob. We have fortunate to have with us our service above, one of our service above self scholars today. So we've got someone special to introduce her. I'm going to call upon Pam Alexander Powell.
Hello, I'm excited, or I was very excited when Scott asked me to introduce Khendra Witt, the 2016 Rotary Service Above Self Scholar. Khendra, if you read her bio in the Rotarian newsletter, I mean, I'm sure you were boiled over by all that she's done at Furman. I had the great opportunity to teach Khendra when I think she was a junior in high school. She sat in my AP government class. And when I started thinking about her as a student, I thought there are two things that really stood out to me. The first was that Khendra asked questions, hard questions. She never asked what, she never asked when, she always asked how and why and what if. And then the second thing that stands out to me so much that every year I tell all my other students the story. Khendra might kill me for telling the story, but I really think it helped probably define some of the things that she's been able to do at Furman. Many of you may be aware of the South Carolina YMCA Youth in Government Program. It takes place every year. Students across the state get a great opportunity to go to the State House. They can be legislators, they could be attorneys or lobbies. And in true Khendra fashion, she chose the hardest role, which was the appeals court. It is very intimidating. You prepare for about a month to do your case in the actual South Carolina Supreme Court chambers. You do it in front of 9 justices, a small audience, and you stand in the well by yourself. And Khendra had prepared, like I'm sure we all knew she would when we look at her resume today. And she stood up there and she encountered an evil justice. This is one of those people that we probably all encountered in our life, people that want to tear you down and not build you up. And this justice started firing questions at Kenya. She would start with 2 or 3 words and the justice would interrupt her. And it just went on. And I sat behind her and I saw her as an advisor and saw her knees knocking. I heard her voice quivering. Mama Bear and me wanted to go up and trample this justice for doing this to her. That as I look back, I imagine that critical thinking young lady developed a lot of resilience that day. She got up the next day, did it all over again. And I think those are probably some things that served her well at Furman. I'm looking forward to hearing about her service today. And I want you to know that Malden High School is very proud of you. And remember, once a Mav, always a Mav. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all? I'm super excited to be here today to share my experiences from this past year. Didn't know you were going to tell that story about me being an attorney and YIG. It was truly an awful experience, but I decided to do it the next year and it went so much smoother. I knew what to expect, so it was definitely a great learning experience. But my final year at Furman was not at all what I expected, but it truly made me stronger. Most of you know my story and know that my life has been filled with ups and downs. So throughout the years, I've really learned how to persevere. For those of you who don't know my story, the roller coaster, as I call it, it all began when my family found ourselves in the unthinkable place of being homeless. While this experience was one that I couldn't imagine, it has shaped me into the person I am today. Through this experience, our family received assistance from GAIN, and through this experience, I was able to connect with people who encouraged me to serve. So while our family was finding our home, I began to find joy and passion for giving back to others. So fast forward to my senior year of high school, life unfortunately decided to throw another curveball at me, and my father unexpectedly passed away after suffering another major stroke, and this left my mother without a job at the time to care for us. This all happened when I was trying to figure out where I was going to college, and many people doubted my abilities to go to Furman, and constantly told me that it was too expensive and that I should consider going somewhere else. And for me, Furman felt like home and family, and I knew I belonged there. So I decided to stay in Greenville and attend Furman, and the Rotary Club helped me get there and make that possible, so thank you. During my senior year of high school, I would have told everyone that my biggest accomplishment was graduating and going to Furman, despite everyone telling me that I couldn't. But now I'm proud to say that one of my biggest accomplishments is getting a degree in accounting and Asian studies in the middle of a global pandemic, while also completing over 350 service hours from Furman. So I did it, Mama, I made it. But today I'm going to share just some of the major things that I learned through my service at Furman University. The first thing is to expect the unexpected. I think at this point we can all relate to this statement, as 2020 has not proved to be the year that we expected. Senior year is supposed to be the most fun and exciting year of college. However, it was honestly one of the most challenging and unpredictable years yet. At the start of this year, I had my boss quit, which meant that I had the added responsibility of helping manage the Trone Student Center as the reservations manager. I also decided to take on applying to graduate school, which I did not go as planned at all. I basically failed the GMAT the first time, which is the business entrance exam that you have to take in order to get into it. So I had to scramble to figure out how I would take it again before deadlines occurred. For me, this experience was so unexpected because I am the first person in my family to pursue a master's degree. The plan I had in mind did not go as expected, but in the end, the unexpected plan was the best plan I could have asked for. This experience made me realize that there is a lack of access to opportunities obtaining a master's degree, especially for people who come from poorer backgrounds. I have always believed that education is the way to break the chain of poverty. So while applying to graduate school was not easy or inexpensive, I managed to overcome boundaries. And I'm excited to announce that I will be attending Wake Forest in the fall to obtain my master's in accounting. So I'm super excited. Saying all this, some pretty unexpected things also happened in regards to serving others. At Furman, I served as an admissions counselor and got to help give tours to potential candidates for a teaching job in the Asian Studies department. And so at the end of the semester, I learned that the first candidate that I gave a tour to, he was from Stanford. He actually got selected and decided to come to Furman. So I give myself a little props for getting a new professor to come into the Asian Studies department. But while my main job as an ambassador is to help prospective students find their home for the next 4 years, the experience of giving tours to candidates was an exciting challenge that I'm glad that I got to have. Overall, if I had to make the decision to choose Furman again, I would. While I didn't get to enjoy all the fun senior celebrations at the end of the year. My 4 study abroad experiences, 2 majors, and forever friends are all unexpected experiences that I will forever cherish. The second thing I learned was to listen. I believe that this is the best way to serve others, is by listening to the needs of the people around you, but also listening to yourself. This year, I had the pleasure of volunteering on a financial wellness committee for the student life department at Furman. This committee focuses on concerns surrounding financial literacy and competence, financial planning and personal finance, food and housing insecurities, as well as topics and access to student debt and barriers in student participation. While many students like myself get scholarships to attend Furman, there's often a gap that puts financial pressures on students to stay at Furman. So while at Furman, I did work 2 student jobs to financially provide for myself. And so this committee allowed me to have a voice so that Furman could better serve its students in regards to financial wellness. I also worked closely with the Cawthorn Center for Vocational Reflection that challenges students to find their vocational calling on campus and beyond Furman. This center asks 3 main questions: who am I most authentically, what do I believe most deeply, and what does the world need from me? As members of the advisory team, I got to provide spaces for students from different backgrounds to listen and learn from each other. So I encourage you to make sure that you are listening and learning from each other, especially during this time. The third thing that I learned is mentorship is a 2-way street. Last year, I talked about how I quit dance to join a middle school mentoring group called Ladies of Distinction. This year, I continued to serve as a mentor, and this was one of the most exciting years yet. It was so fun returning and seeing how much the girls had grown don't get me wrong, they still had all of their boy drama and they were the sassiest girls, but they really helped me get through my dark times of studying for the GMAT and applying to graduate school every Thursday, no matter what type of week I was having. They really filled me up, and I felt like they were mentors to me. This year, I had the pleasure of leading workshops on goal setting, and this allowed me to even take a step back and reevaluate and set goals of my own. As a mentor, I value being able to leave a positive impact on young girls and even show them the potentials of being, the potentials of a career in accounting. I've always enjoyed math, but I didn't take my first accounting class until my sophomore year of college. And so I didn't want this to also be the case for these girls. And so as mentors and ladies of distinction, we were really intentional about exposing them to as many different career paths and majors as possible. While at Furman, I've had so many mentors, but only develop mentorship with a few people. So I specifically want to take the time to thank Dr. Judith Prince, who has shown me what true mentorship looks like. You have truly been a positive role model for me and the Rotary Club. And I appreciate that you have been my cheerleader since the day that we met. So thank you. And the last thing that I really learned through service is always remember service above self. As fellow Rotarians, I think that this is something that you all constantly think about and strive to model. As a future business professional, I constantly ask myself, what do I believe my role will be as a business professional and educated person, and what kind of obligation will I have to provide service to my community? And so to answer this, I think mentorship is the best answer to this question. My accounting mentor at Furman has been my greatest asset, and she has truly pointed me in the direction I need to one day be a successful CPA. And so I'm so grateful for her. I strive to one day be a mentor to others, to show people no matter where you come from, you can be one day successful. I always think that serving those who aren't as fortunate as you is very important. For the second year, I got to serve as a VITA volunteer for United Ministries. VITA stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistant, which means that I got to do taxes for low-income families who can't afford to do their taxes themselves or pay for someone else to do them. And so while I'm excited to one day work for a Big Four accounting firm, I think it's a humbling experience being able to use my major to give back to others. And so throughout my time at Furman, serving others and giving back has become a big part of who I am. And I can't believe that my time at Furman is finished. I thank Jane Dyer for inviting me to join and speak today. And thank you again for selecting me to be your Service Above Self Scholar and represent the Rotary Club throughout my time at Furman. While my time at Furman abruptly ended and I had to finish online, I know that my service will not, and I'm really excited to find new ways to continue serving new communities, especially moving to.
Thank you, Khendra. Can people hear me? We lost Michelle, so okay. Thank you, Khendra. Congratulations on graduation from Furman, and we wish you the best of luck at Wake Forest. You're inspiration to all of us. Congratulations. So today's program really is a little bit is a grassroots program, and so we now know that when we're part of Rotary, we're a part of something international. We're helping our community. We're building leadership skills among ourselves, meeting great people. We used to be having great lunches, but now we're also a part of international projects. Just so you know, a lot of money we go to Rotary International. I mean, some of that money goes to help international district projects, but Rotary charities every year from the fundraisers that we do, we give $15,000. It goes primarily to the water projects as well as the Warne's projects. We're talking about Honduras and Haiti. So today we're going to hear from two of our members who've been very involved. I think first will be Suzy Tumblin, and just a little bit about Suzy. Her career path has been very colorful. She started working at age 18 as the Avon lady. And she was a jewelry manager. She's a retired insurance agency owner, and now she's in real estate. And she's also the owner of Carolina Lifestyle Personal Assistant / Executive Assistant Services, which helps busy people get things done. She was born and raised in the upstate of South Carolina, but she fell in love with travel when she was 16 years old and went to France as an exchange student. That's also when she caught the passion about learning about other companies. Suzy credits her biggest accomplishment as being a single mother and raising 3 kids who successfully reached adulthood. And that is an accomplishment. Suzy is a member of Greenville's Women Forum, a Bond Secure Fellow, Money Smart Instructor, Health and Happiness. She's over our Health and Happiness for the district. Go, Suzy. She joined Rotary in 2005, and she's been active in the Honduras Water Project for a number of years. You may remember that earlier this year, she traveled to Honduras and was going to do some volunteer work and then go to the Honduras Water Project, and was actually stranded because of the coronavirus. And we all had prayer chains going, trying to get her back safely. So we're going to hear from Suzy about the Honduras Water Project. And also, you know, if y'all have been through Discover Rotary, you've heard all about all the work that we're doing in Haiti. And we have Rotarian Charles Warne with us, and his wife, Jelaine. They were born and raised in Australia, and they started their careers as farmers on the Central Plateau of New South Wales. And in 2000, he went on a visit with Jelaine to Haiti, and then they became involved in mission work from that day on. The mission work continues to this day and has been a passion of leading to the direction of activity on 3 farms and a vocational school. They've worked with Rotary clubs and Rotary International to receive grants for the projects of partners in agriculture. And in 2019, Rotary International granted through District 7750 in the Rotary Club of Greenville $99,750 each year for 3 years for the creation of a goat breeding facility on the Lecheto farm in the Central Plateau of Haiti. So we're going to hear from Charles. So I think the plan is for Suzy to go first. And so we're going to turn this over somehow. Suzy, you may have to just unmute yourself. That's
I'm
what I
unmuted.
do. You're unmuted? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn it over to Suzy, and welcome, Suzy.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. My friends have always nicknamed me names like Road Trip, and nowadays they have this little game that they play. It's called Where is Suzy? Where in the world is Suzy? Because I was bitten by a love and passion for other cultures. Again, at the young age of 16, and just being blessed in order to go and explore other countries and other people, and learning how very wonderfully diverse and how very different we all are has been my blessing. With the Rotary Club, I have been able to go to Honduras a couple of times, which was my salvation this last trip. There's always some risk with every adventure, and I knew leaving out that going out there is not without its challenges. The first 2 times that I went to Honduras, I took one of my teenage children with me each of those 2 times. But being able to go, and the purpose in taking my children is they needed a reality break. They needed to know what the real world is like, how things really work out there, and that not having the newest PlayStation or Game Boy controller was not the end of the world. There are people out there that, you know, are worried about the basics, the food, clean water, security, safety. They were able to explore and see firsthand the villages and the poverty that is so real at that point. Children, typically around age 8, would have to stop their education, which is kind of mediocre at best, but they would have to stop their education in order to go and either find water for the family or to find wood in order to burn, to boil the water, to make it to where they can even use it. Now, there's plenty of mountains in Honduras, but getting the water for the sanitation, you have no showers, you have no toilets, you have no way to wash your hands. Can you imagine that in the middle of all this pandemic right now? It was very eye-opening. And again, I never go over without learning and bringing back more than I leave with them. In our water projects over there, it is actually headed out by Al Steele out of the Rock Hill Club, I believe. Y'all can correct me if that's not the right club. But we, as Rotarians, we go in and we help with coordinating things with the government over there. Again, that's not, you think it's crazy here? Try a third world country, right, Charles? So the coordination, the engineering, we hire the professionals that can help with it. We help them build, we bring in the dollars that help them build the cement foundations for the water tanks, and also help them sustain it, because again, with Rotary, we are never going to put money and finances into something that cannot be sustainable. So we make sure that the chemicals are available, and we have, there's one person in these local villages that rides every day to a different water tank to check the levels and make sure that the chemicals are in so that it's not making people more sick. So it's just, it's mind-boggling, and from our perspective, the good that we do just by providing clean water to these communities. Some of them have as, I don't know, 100 people. Some of them may have 400 people in the villages. And just to know that their children can get education and they can just have a better quality of life just because some Rotarians decided that they're gonna come out and help them find water. Again, it's something that we all take for granted. And it's just been my blessing to be a part of it and to be around it. Again, I've never been able to go and give more than I came home with. And, you know, just, it's hard to explain if you've never been to a third world country to give. You always end up coming back with more. So that's why I strongly believe in it, and we need to continue to support it. And everybody keeps asking me after your last episode, would you go back again? Well, yeah, I can.
All right. Thank you, Suzy. Thank you so much for sharing that and for all that you do and all your trips. And I know that was a great education for your daughters. All right, Charles, we're really looking forward to hearing from you and all the work that's going on in Haiti right now.
Thank you for the opportunity to bring you up to date with what's going on in Haiti, with the support of Rotary International, the Rotary Club of Greenville, and District 7750. Rotary has been supportive of partners in agriculture in Haiti for some 18 years. During that period of time, we have organized and funded global grants. This year, Rotary International granted partners in agriculture a global grant for the breeding of goats. Goats are very important in Haiti as a good source of food for families, and they're easy to grow and they eat anything. But the mission of Partners in Agriculture, which is a 501c3 organization in South Carolina, and Association Zanmi Agricole, which is a 501c3 like nonprofit in Haiti. Association Zanmi Agricole is responsible for the operations of the projects that we undertake in the Central Plateau of Haiti. The Central Plateau has about 1 million people and is placed here on the Artibonite River, which is the largest river in Haiti, between the village of Bouconcaré and a town called Cange. This is on the left-hand side is a map of Haiti. On the right-hand side with AZ in it is the area in the Central Plateau in which Partners in Agriculture operate. The mission of Partners in Agriculture is really human development, and we do that through education and agriculture. On the educational side, this building is the vocational school, which on the top floor teaches agriculture to about 70 students per year. They follow a 3-year course. And on the bottom level is where we store the produce grown on the farm. This is a generator provided by Rotary for the school because electricity to the school is not stable. and to continue the classes and other developments in the school. We had a necessity for the generator, which Rotary provided. This is what they call a mandala, which is a project prepared by the vocational school students. What it does here in the circular fashion is to allow intensive farming, mainly for vegetables and fruits. The purpose of the current grant, of course, was the breeding of goats. This is goats in the pasture that we have. The area is about 125 acres and is partitioned in 15 different paddocks. The major part of the current grant is to construct a goat house. And this is underway at the moment. Actually, the roof will go on this week. And the reason for the goat house, of course, is that goats need to be provided with shade and with cover for the bad weather that operates in Haiti. This is the inside of the goat house. You can see the railings there that separate the goats depending on the age and their activity, whether they're pregnant or they're birthing. The farm has, of course, the goats require water as well as food. We have 120 female goats, caprines, and by March of 2021, we will have 500 breeders. This will produce about 1,500 kids per year. The kids will be given to the families in the family security program. We currently have 750 of those families. And we give them, when they join the program, they get 2 goats, they get seeds, they get tools, and they get training by the students that attend the vocational school. This allows the peasant farmers to develop their plots of land so that they can become eventually self-sustaining. These developments have allowed the farmers in their small plots of land to go from an income of $1.25 per day up to this current year to $250 per day income. So you can see that they really are the poorest of the poor. This is a preparation of the land for goat fodder, which is normally necessary in the dry season. This is the planting, cutting of the fodder. And this is the transport, directed delivery to the goats. These are some of the families in the family security program that get provided with the 2 goats. Of the 2 goats that they get provided initially, they are responsible for returning 1 kid to the program, and that is delivered to another family that's added to the program. This is some data from the Central Plateau. You can see there's about 1 million people, but of those million, they're under the age of 15 years, there's 317,000, 149 households. The children underweight, 30%, and stunted children, 10%, due to the lack of food security. This is a typical rural family home. Here's some statistics on the community development in the Central Plateau. You can see here, the first column is a relief project, which is providing the family security program since inception. It has had over 10,000 people involved. The next column is the family economic security, and the other smaller program is school children, where we have school gardens at each of the 40 schools in the area, and we provide them with the ability to grow their own plots of food and to provide lunch to them on a daily basis. This is a new development for us, which is the establishment of 3 ponds to grow tilapia. This pond is not quite finished, although it does have some fingerlings, which are the small tilapia in the water already. Haiti is currently undergoing another major crisis, just not with internal strife and unrest, but the development of the coronavirus. But it is facing an unprecedented food shortage, with imports stopped, which is their main source of food, and limited food supplies unable to reach the markets. PIA and Rotary are responding to the situation by planting excess planting of emergency crops such as corn, peas, mangoes, vegetables, growing fish for the market, raising goats, and helping to underline the need for Haitians families to grow more of their own produce and have not rely so heavily on imports. Of course, over the 18 years, Rotary has been very supportive and wonderful results from the efforts. We hope to go into our second year of the goat breeding program in this coming year, and to be able to add more families to the family security program. Thank you, Rotarians, for your help in this project, or these projects, Service Above Self. If there are any questions, I'd like to answer them. As you can see, it's a very involved program. We have 85 employees in Haiti.
Charles, could you stop sharing your screen, and Teresa will field the questions for everybody. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat feature and Teresa will ask them.
Charles, thank you for sharing, and I'm going to ask a question. If we want to be more involved with this particular project, how would you suggest we do that?
Well, there are two ways you can get involved with the projects in Haiti. Obviously, the first one is support. To run this operation costs about $1,400,000 a year. And from time to time, we do take Rotarians to visit the complex. We've done that 4 times in the 18 years, and we'd like to do, as soon as the country is open and it's possible to visit, we'd like to organize another Rotarian visit. We work closely in Haiti with Rotary clubs, which are required for every global grant granted. But any questions on that basis or any interest to be involved, you could contact us, and we will be able to give you directions of how it can be achieved.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question from Terry and Pam Weaver. They would like to know where the steel for the goat house was fabricated.
Actually, it was imported from the Dominican Republic. As you may be aware, there's not a whole lot of manufacturing in Haiti. But the steel was imported across the border from the Dominican Republic, as will be the roof and all the other equipment. We cannot get equipment into Haiti at the moment because ships aren't allowed to sail into the ports. So we're waiting on actually another grant of seeds that's on board a ship in Miami, waiting to be approved to enter the ports of Haiti.
Thanks. Road Trip Suzy is going to organize a visit as soon as it's possible to travel. She's going to take us out to see you.
Well, good. I would be very happy, and you'd be very pleased to see what your Rotary has done.
Christine Braswell Amin says the Dominican Republic has greatly their economy through tourism. Do you think that Haiti could ever benefit in their economy through tourism?
Yes, it has had periods of visits by travelers. Currently, there are none. You cannot get a hotel room at the moment. They have over 5,000 cases of coronavirus. which is only just starting in Haiti. And of course, the medical and health facilities in Haiti are existent, but very small. So they have a big problem on their hands. And together with the food security, it's just catastrophic. But the Haitians are resilient people, and they'll make it, and hopefully we'll be there to help them do it.
Well, maybe the goat houses could double as a hotel.
Right. Maybe.
There's a note from Stan Reed. Is there any cooperation or interaction with the agencies or authorities in the neighboring Dominican Republic?
Not really, no.
Okay. And Elizabeth Lyons would like to know what the status of the literacy project is in Haiti.
I'm not familiar where, at what stage the literacy project is. I do know that Rotary teamed up with other NGOs in Haiti to expand the literacy program. And I believe that that is on hold because of the virus.
Roger Hasig would like to know if Haiti's yet recovered from the earthquake a decade ago.
Somewhat. Parts, of course, most of the damage from the earthquake was in Port-au-Prince, the capital. And some of the suburbs have done a great job. Others haven't even started. So, but business was as usual, and now waiting to be opened up.
It's a lot of work, ongoing work in every direction in Haiti.
Yeah. Going back to the tourist situation, there are tourist areas, some of them very nice areas, beaches, islands, and so forth. But that has ceased due to the local problems, roadblocks, kidnappings, and other areas. And hopefully they'll get back to tourism as a major project in the next couple of years.
Terry and Pam Weaver would like to know if you're continuing to manufacture peanut supplements for treatment of malnourished children.
Yes, we are. That's how the project started actually in Haiti, is that Rotary gave us a small grinding machine which used to grind peanuts to put into a formula which we call Nurimumba. And we manufactured that in a small town and then moved it to the building that you saw where the vocational school is. And it continues to this day. We have fed over 45,000 children that suffered from malnutrition, to such an extent where malnutrition amongst children in the Central Plateau is rare. The hospital used to have some 150 children at a time that suffered from malnutrition to go into a program that lasted 6 weeks. And now they rarely get a child admitted for malnutrition. So it's been very successful.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Charles?
I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. This is an unusual way to do it. And
thank you.
Not being technology savvy, it takes a while to get used to. But thank you very much. Great.
Thank you, Charles. Michelle, do you want to take this back? Or are there any other questions that we have for either Suzy or Khendra today?
I wanna go ahead. Thank you all. Charles, thank you for what you're doing. It's really humbling. You really are. I mean, you're making a difference in so many lives. It's really amazing what y'all are doing. Suzy, thank you for all your travels and your volunteerism, and we're glad you made it back. Still have you with us. Khendra, also a great inspiration. We wish you the best of luck. The next phase of your life, I know you've got great things ahead of you. Good luck at Wake Forest University. Couple of closing announcements. Let's just don't forget to sign up for the district governor installation. Beth is the first female president of our club. It's really important that we be there to support and recognize her. She's done great things and for not only for our club, but for the district as well. So please put that on your calendar. Remember, our next meeting will be Dr. Linda Bell, who is the South Carolina State Epidemiologist. And so that's going to be it'd be great to hear from her and kind of get her insight and her tale on where we are and where we're going to be. There's so many unknowns out there. I look forward to that. Make sure you invite at least 5 people to attend this meeting. We could just forward on. We've actually expanded our Zoom capability so we can have hundreds of people join. We need to set a record for Rotary Zoom attendance. How about that? Remember, the next week is the board meeting, and we will the board will be really talking about when we might consider meeting again in person and how that's going to work. If you, as a reminder, we have these membership grants available. Feel free, and preferably by Monday, if you could apply to that so we can get all of our responses back out to everyone. And if you are uncomfortable meeting in person for the upcoming quarter, please also reach out to us, because we're going to find a way to help you out also, because all of our members are very important to us. So if you're so interested, we still are collecting money for Rotary International, Polio Plus, Alzheimer's research. You can send a check or drop money off at the Rotary office if you feel led to do that. Don't forget to sign people up for Discover Rotary next Tuesday or 11 o'clock on the 23rd. And if there's nothing else, we will conclude by stating the 4-way test. Of all the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Great to see you guys. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Stay healthy and take